For my extension challenge for the first week here, I thought, what could be more fun than one LED blinking on and off? Well, of course, the answer that every engineer knows is, 12 LEDs blinking on and off would be really cool. But not only blinking on and off, but blinking on and off in sequence, so that it actually creates a chasing effect. I've always kind of wanted to do this, and this was an opportunity to do it, so I did. So basically what I have set up on the board here are 12 LEDs, alternating red, white, and blue, very patriotic. They're basically 12 independent circuits hooked up to pins 2 through 13 on the Arduino board. Very much the same circuit setup as the single, but just there are 12 of them that are effectively running independently here. And so what that looks like when I run the program, which will be easier to do if I plug in the device. Okay, is that. And basically I have about a 20 microsecond delay going on here. So there's this really nice, there's a reset chasing effect going on. Now, as everyone knows, just making 12 of something that you did once is probably not all that interesting. Where the real interesting part gets to is actually playing with the code. And so I did play with the code, and I did it in basically two ways. I did what I call the brute force method here, where I basically defined integers for each of the LEDs, and then I slogged through activating the outputs to each of those LEDs. And then I really brute forced my way through here of basically turning them on and turning them off at 20 microsecond intervals. So it works, but it is definitely what I would call brute force. So I took an alternate approach, borrowed a code from some codes from some folks, and took some of my own knowledge, and I created this program. And basically what it does is it defines a time setting of 20 microseconds. And then what it does is it initializes all of the pins 2 through 13 by going through a for loop with using index I that is incremented each time it goes through the loop until it gets to less than or equal to 13. In which case it basically is going through pin mode here for each of the pins and activating them. And then if you remember all that tremendous block of code that I had before to turn things on and off, I've used another for loop down here in the loop section. And that is basically, again, incrementing from 1 to less than 14 by steps of 1. Turning in each pass through the loop, it turns on one of the pins. It's high, waits 20 microseconds, turns the pin off, and then waits 20 microseconds, and then goes back to the loop, goes to the next pin till it's all the way through. And then, of course, when it's done with pin 13, it just goes back and fires the loop up again. So I haven't run this yet, so this is still running the brute force method. So let's see when I compile this and upload it, will it run the same way? And within the layman's ability to tell the difference, it looks like it is exactly the same. So there are lots of ways to skin cats. The cats don't like any of those ways. But we've got to learn one of them, and brute force is good, and slightly more elegant is good as well. So hopefully the coding will get better as time goes on.